back. Welcome to the morning show. I didn't think I was going to do a show this morning. It's Saturday, November 13th. I'm your host, Tom Kaczynski. Welcome to the show. And today's show is going to be a very short one, but I wanted to share a quick idea I had with you. I can probably get it across in 10 minutes. So, this is called The Logic of Leviathan. And if you like what you hear in this broadcast, you want to support it, the Venmo's at CVCPRV. Join the Telegram group t.me/Atlantic Homeland. Super chats welcome. Like and subscribe. Okay. So all that's done. So I wanted to get into this really so people understand what the logic of Leviathan is. And this is the war you're basically fighting. And I want you to understand the equation properly. And it's kind of no accident I actually see Leviathan mentioned as this fearsome beast in the Bible, a demonic entity that rules the waves, basically, and also at the same time as a beast that will be dealt with in the book of Revelation. But I mean it more in the sense of Hobbes' use of it, Thomas Hobbes, where Leviathan was the all-encompassing state. The state is at war with the people, and the state does two things, and it's an evil entity. It does two things, and it does them well. Number one is it gets its power by crushing the small to make the strong stronger. So what you see and what Leviathan wants to do is it wants to go ahead, take the majority, make enemies out of the minority, and attack them. So when you see people who refuse to be fuel injected, who are being painted as lepers and as outcasts and as horrible people, that's the means by which the state is creating the problem to have you give it the power so it can go ahead and attack you. So that's something you see over and over again, this effort of marginalization and attack. But the other thing Leviathan does, because it's evil, is it sets people against one another, because it has to. The state fundamental role is to exist as a referee between people. Same with banks, same with all these other forms of dark magic, to say that you and another person can't get along. So here's what happens. They set group against group. They set the country against one another. And when you think of all the areas in which we've invited the state to come to make things better, has it not made things worse? Because where we used to have agreement and concord, where people came to voluntary arrangements, now everything is involuntary, mandatory, and forced upon you. Whether that means your health decisions, which are no longer between you and your doctor, but behind, some medical system. Whether it's your teaching situation, which used to be between the parents and the teachers, but now there's school boards and principals and layers of administration. Every opportunity you see, a referee is put between the people who are trying to do things and between the people who are providing a service. And that middleman's job exists for one reason, to make a wedge between you so that conflict is inevitable. This is what evil is in the world. It's where people cannot directly connect with one another. And what I have for you that's good news is the logic of Leviathan is forcing people into a pressure cooker where they have no option but resistance. And as that goes forward, you're going to see a very different world emerge. You're going to see a world where, yes, there's going to be a lot more conflict. There's going to be a lot more suffering. Leviathan is taking resources off the table so that you have to fight one another for power, for control, for survival. And even if people don't want to do this, even if people cling to the government, okay, the problem is they're destroying things around us so fast that in a social sense, it will be inevitable that people will be caught up in a fight against one another. In one sense, this is an utterly horrible world. On the other hand, it's a natural world that's coming into being, where people are going to have to be more honest with each other, where their relationships are going to have meaning, where decisions are going to have consequence, and we are going to be much more alive than we've been in a very long time. And there will be a lot more loss. There will be a lot more death. Death and life come together as a natural consequence, and it's something we're all going to have to deal with. It's going to be very challenging for all of us. And this is all part of the logic of Leviathan that you need to start mentally getting prepared for, that your loyalty no longer is to a state or to a fixed tribe, but rather it's people who you personally connect to and who you have working relationships with it. Everything is now going to be personal. Nothing is going to be political. It's not going to be ideological. It will be pragmatic, and it will be practical, and it will be highly localized. And how you are able to localize yourself depends upon your assets and your survival thing. It may be that you're localized in a certain place on the ground. That's the safest way. And maybe you're localized online in a certain group of people. We certainly do that in our Telegram group at Atlantic Homeland, and that helps a little bit as well. So that's another opportunity we can look at. But ultimately, you need people you can trust, people you can rely upon, and people who understand the fight is coming to you. And the fight is coming to you in one of two ways. Either you are going to resist a ever-growing totalitarian international regime. We see Austria, for example, today going forward and putting on total mandates against people who have not taken the genetic manipulation. Or alternatively, you're going to get stuck in a fight with other people around you who are suffering the consequences of the takedown from a regime that's utterly inhuman, and it's trying to destroy this world. I mean, mean, I don't think you can conclude otherwise, and I know that sounds hyperbolic to certain people, but you can watch. There is no hope for the future. There is no faith for the future till we come to the other side of this. So we're going to have to slay the demon we've created, and that demon is Leviathan, and we've given its power because we think that it will take care of us and that we can have it be trusted to do what we don't do for ourselves. So we're going to have to take this world back. We're going to have to take it back on our knees to begin with by praying to the Lord God to rescue us from this own for deliverance. We're going to have to work with one another in ways we have not before, begin planning and putting our resources and minds and skills together to accomplish certain things. And we're going to have to stop giving faith and credit over to a government that does not represent us. And it doesn't matter what country you live in. It's certainly true in the United States of America, but I would posit to you, as much as I don't see a single country opposing this untested genetic manipulations being put on people, that there is no good country. So your loyalty is no longer to your home country. You're no longer Americans or Canadians or Australians or Britons or Frenchmen or Italians or Germans or whatever you were before. You are now a free individual, and we are living in a world that's much more like Middle Ages. You may have a hometown, you have friends, you have family, you have clan, but you can figure out who you're going to associate with, and that offers an opportunity for a new beginning. Good morning, Farm Girl Rebel, and good morning to everyone who's here today. So I wanted to put this out there. It's not a super long fragment I wanted to do because it's a Saturday and this is my day off, and I'm trying to enjoy it, although I probably won't because I got a lot of things I got to do, and the roosters are telling me to go out there and do my work. But I wanted you to really start thinking about what it means in the world you're going to be living in and begin the transition. It's a world you're going to have to fight for, and it's a world where people who are by and large scared are going to either give power over to the machine or B, come directly at those who prepare because they don't know what they're doing. And you can try to anticipate them and you can try to help them and you can hope for the best for them. But in reality, there's a lot of people on the table who are just going to be causing a complete disaster. And this is part of the goal, by the way. They want fewer people. They want to have these wars. They want to have these attacks. They want to have civil unrest. So all of this is being engineered quite deliberately to be a big problem for us. And I don't know how much more I can say to prepare you for what's coming other than to say that time must be very short. The dollar's beginning to break, and if it goes just a little bit further, it won't be long before it's completely gone. And the dollar's been the Leviathan, by the way. The Leviathans work because we've imposed force around the world. But now, because we can't organize ourselves, we can't impose force in the world. And now you don't have the ability to use that sort of power in other ways. So the consequences will happen as what happens if any other scam. When the gig is up, you'll see people come and start fighting one another for the resources. And that's probably what America is going to do, if not here in 2021, certainly in 2022. And that's why you see politicians pass ridiculous bills. They're just buying enough plunder to get their way out of the way. This is late imperial collapse stuff, pretty basic stuff, happened in Rome, happened many times throughout history, and it's something that you need to be aware of. So what do you do in response to it? You really just need to find your faith, find your family, and find your folk, and then begin organizing on that basis and understand that you're there now to go ahead and take what you can out of the system and get ready for the reset, and that's all we can do. It is going in slow motion. It is already starting. I agree with Farm Girl on that point, and I think you guys need to know that. But I think a lot of people need to realize that when this happens, the initial fighting until things reorganize, especially if it falls off fast, could be very bloody, and it could be very ugly, and it's something you need to expect. You need to anticipate. I mean, I really wish in retrospect we had done more to just get out of the country, but I mean, there's nowhere else good to go. You just need to be as isolated as you can and have people around you trust, and that's the best advice I can give you. So we'll go back and look at more news, and we'll go ahead and describe the slow motion Chinese water torture that I always do about all the bad things that are going to be happening. But realistically, I don't think there's any way to turn this around, and no one can convince me otherwise. I mean, short of God himself coming down, which, hey, by the way, the Bible says Jesus will do after we suffer for a while longer, and it's going to be hard. I don't know what else I can really tell you. We could talk about the why, we could talk about the how, we could talk about, maybe that, we'll be dealing with man as a machine and that people will see that as a beneficial escape. I mean, this is more complicated than it's been in the past. It would usually be just a breakdown, and now you're having people who are rebels against a system that's becoming inhuman. I mean, what do? It's like watching King Midas turn everyone to gold, and you have to figure out what you're going to do in that time. I mean, the answer is to run, but to where, to whom? And to whom is maybe the question. Where your friends are, where your faith should be. And and where your faith should be is with the Lord, and hopefully your friends will be with him as well, because you need that circle to connect real tightly, because if not, it's going to be torn apart, and I've just seen it way too many times. So I would just ask that, you do what you can, try to help someone else out, pray to the Lord for all of us, and pray for Dana and me as well, because we certainly have a lot of challenges. So I just wanted to leave you with that little quick message on a Saturday morning. God bless each and every one of you. I will try to be here with a sermon for you on Sunday. All right. Have a good day. Goodbye.